Thank you. I'm so glad to be here to another Data Popcorn and this first time Crunch edition. Welcome to my session, and let me introduce myself. I'm Maja Spanic Kezan, and for the last 2 decades, I'm playing with the data and extracting business value, and still enjoy and passionately love to do so. During that period of time, I changed several technical, business, and analytical roles and gained different perspectives how to organize data so business users can understand and use it. When I was starting my technical career, I was oriented more on visualization and on the tools and the features. And pretty much soon I realized that I need to prepare data that is suitable for that and support it, and clean data a little bit. So to give data the voice, we have several elements that you can see here. And I also record the video, as Mikey said, for Data Popcorn Spring Edition, and here you can find the link. When I switch to the business side, I change the perspective and see that improved business value is very important, and orientation on improving the business process and resolving business problem that's why we are it's all about. So we need to have the people involved in that. So we need to organize so users can understand. If they don't understand, they will not use the data and will not help and implement these improvements that we need. And to support that, we also need to have the visualization, and we have several types of it. We have exploratory to find the story, explanation to tell the story, and sometimes educational one. And we need to have this a little bit transformation that we will see some of them today to unlock hidden potential in the data. And if we have data quality issues, we need to clean the data so it can be trusted and make better business decisions. When I learned the most how to organize data so people can understand is when I was chief designer in strategy department, responsible not only for helping top management to define the strategy, but also to communicate strategy to others. And one of the most common strategy goal is increasing profit by certain %. And what does this mean for engineer on the site? I put here the profit loss statement. It's regulatory purposes and it's on creation, and I assume most of you does not understand the creation, but that's the same feeling that our engineers had. They don't understand it and they don't know how they fit in and what they need to do. Besides this strategy communication, we also in parallel want to give them mechanism to track the improvements and implementation of it. So we split profit loss statement into revenue, cost, and profit loss. But we need to cascade this to the level they understand and they can manage, so it's on the project level. But we need to make certain adjustments. Also, we need to prepare the mechanism that they want to track. So we split the cost into direct aligned to the project, indirect aligned, but it's necessary, for example, certification, education, and overhead costs. And then split the cost a little bit further with internally already our resources internally in the organization, or we need to have it externally. And we switch that and ask ourselves, can you understand this? And switch back and forward until it's understandable. Also, we switch that over the time. For example, we saw that accommodation costs are pretty much high, so we put it here so they can see it immediately. If we group the projects into programs and programs into program groups and add additional program groups and call centers, we will have the overview for the whole company, and that's the top management view. For other program groups, we have additional splits and different a little bit shape, so they are suitable for that. And of course we have for accountant, we have additional view based on journal and more accountant related stuff. So we have different audience, we have different shapes, different granularity, and we use different business terms. We want to use business terms that they are immediately understandable by the end audience. Not they need to translate to something else and then to understand. And of course, we want to provide as much details as we can and split the cost on, even provide more details. So we have sometimes use additional algorithms to translate it to on that details level. So we saw already that it's important to orient it on the business value. And to support strategy goal, this increasing profit, we also have certain business problems that we need to solve. And one of them is to implement proper material cost planning. And that is also the switching in the perspectives. When I was only technical person, I was oriented on the data and what we can find in the form that we find it's there. But then I switch on the business side. Well, see what is the business problem and then find the data during this data hunting problem. And then we find out that we can have used different internal and external data sources. And then we have another challenge is how to use that data in our business environment, in our context for purposes to resolve this business problem. In this material cost, we have different internal data, but we need to have additional adjustment. We need, because the material cost depends of quality, quantity, delivery date, and of course transportation cost depends is this internally or externally. And we can extend this with external data sources and external price, from example from metal exchange, and we have additional fee to add to this. So we will have again additional algorithms to translate this into our business context that we need to resolve our problem. So what is behind? We have the business oriented, and we need to also have these analytical parts as well. So the challenge is how to use that data, and we are oriented on the business. So we will orient it on the business process and put it in the middle. And our input data are oriented in a little bit differently. This is a very simple example from the public resources, and but we can see the raw data in different shapes, forms, and sources, but have the same feature is oriented on how best input data into the system. In this particular example, we the call center data are split by years, and we have several other resources like call charges and something else, and we have structures like this: call times, call duration, call type, code, and call charges are in minutes and call data are in seconds. And the challenge is how to use that data to improve call center data and allocate resources when and where it's necessary to fulfill a service level agreement and response time within 35 seconds. So we need to translate this input oriented to business and analytic oriented, and this fitted in star schema, and the star in the middle is our business process. This particular example is call data, but we can have revenue, we can have inventory, we can even have the metrics for this profit and loss statement. And then we will have the dimensions of that business process, like dates, time frames of the day, call date, call types, and we can also have the programs, projects, cost data, cost category, and lots of other dimensions as well. So we need to have a little bit different kinds of transformation and lots of slice and dicing. And during that process, we need to unify data. So different units of measures is one of them, but we can also have this code booking, mapping from different parts, and especially if we have different data sources. We can have simple calculations. We will have additional attributes that will help to provide much more information. Also, we can have the conditional attributes, and we can have different types. One is indicator is binary, it's 1 or 0, and it can be used for summarize things. And another type is labeled one, so we will have, is it waiting time within 35 seconds, so it's within a service level agreement or not, and we will use in different kind of way. And sometimes we have a problem with data quality, and this problem is changing pretty much quickly, and we need to do something dynamically. So I use often the trick, put everything, the logic into one indicator. In this particular case, is it in revenue calculation or not? And then you can use it, this 1 or 0, in further attributes to build on. And you can directly have these data quality checks and additional transformation. Keep in mind that we have raw data, but with the right form and business context, it provides us much more information. Also, we can have different type of categorization. We can have the type that we already have in raw data, like this priority JIRA ticket types. And sometimes we can combine things and provide different grouping and combination. And sometimes we will put things in the bracket, right, like in this resolution duration example. And we can have also dynamically categorization to put this bracket, what is the categories and what is the minimum and maximum applicable for these categories. And if we need to sort on things, we will put also the index. Okay, we have the business process in mind, but also what can help in this modeling part and translating data in shape much suitable for use is we can use the 6V questions. So ask who, what, how, when, where, and why. For example, when. In this call center data example, we have date times, call stamp, and we will divide into these two dimensions, date and time. And obviously we don't have date time is continuously dimensioned. We will have date and monthly and quarterly and yearly level, but we can have other elements which are can help us answer the question why, such as is it a weekday or a weekend? It's something happened, for example, it's something marketing campaign occurred or something breakdown on that particular day. And we can also have the time dimension if we need time slots, like in this particular call data example, to see where we need to allocate limited resources, in which time slots, in which areas. And where sometimes when you use devices, you have only latitude and longitude, and it works perfectly, and you can see the data on the map. But sometimes you need to put the logic behind and also the labeled things, so answer the questions like this, where mostly the crime occurs in these data sets. And the country, when I worked in multinational companies, I usually, the most cleaning part have in the country dimensions. So we need to have the unique values, we can cleaning and mapping, and we can add additional continent as well using the internal or external data sources. And we can have different kind of grouping to show it in more convenient way on our reports. So what we will also can have in mind is to tell the story, we need to introduction the context. So introduction the scene and characters. So ask who, when, where, what, and then confront all of this and to figure out why it certainly happens. So we need to describe root cause. And after that, we need to provide the solution and decide what we need to do next. So we have two types of this translation at the backend in the model, and we can do certain things in visualization and front-end part. When we have the front-end, we need to ask ourselves which data to use and how to use it and display it, and if we need additional information, additional context to provide it. And also in Power BI, we can have measure branching, create measures on top of existing one, and have dynamic groupings, create new categories, depends on the brackets. But we can go even further. When we need to compare things, we can switch the orientation, and instead of horizontally spread tables, we can have the vertical one. How to do that in Power BI using native visuals, you can find it on the link. Here it's a link on the also another data popcorn video. So in this particular case, we want to compare two medical programs and just input a lots of measures and numbers. Keep in mind how we will compare the quickest as possible. So give provided the percentage, provide average daily patients and how many resources are allocated per 10 patients. So it's different kind of measures and different size of population that we want to show, but keep in mind what we want to show and how to compare it. And also it works perfectly for three also this vertical table. So this is the cyclic process. We will have the analysis and transformation, and it's needs some puzzles to solve the whole pictures, and sometimes things will change, our process will change, our environment will change, and sometimes we want to decrease the complexity and want a little bit more. So that the subject areas fit in. If we have a long list of requirements, we can divide it into subject area and put in several business process like this: ordering, inventory, producing, and sales. And it's advisable to have the key performance indicators, what is representing, what is going on in each of these subject area. Now we can have the help icon, we can have additional information, and we need to provide more details to see what's going on and why certain things happened and what we can do. And sometimes to make decisions, we need to have more detailed information. So what we need to have in mind: working memory is limited capacity, and Miller, one of the founder of cognitive psychology, almost 50 years ago, figured out that we can process 5 plus minus 2 items. He discovered that this number is increasing if we use numbers and decreased if we use text. Recently, researchers found out that this number is now up to 3 to 5 items. And to process this, we have a limited amount of time, up to 30 seconds. And as you see, this perfectly fits to Schneiderman visualization information seeking mantra. I didn't know it then, but find it out later that almost 30 years ago he introduced this approach. So give the users a high-level overview, then provide the zoom and filter part to see what is important and what we need to do, why something happened, and if we need more details, provide them details on demand. So provide the KPIs and keep in mind the context. If something is increasing, is it good or bad? In this particular case, if number of products with no and low sales increase, it's alerting, and then provides what's happening and provide more details. And of course, you can find the link here. And in the call center, we have quite opposite direction, and if it's something increasing, it's a good thing, and provide where we need to reallocate our resources and provide details on demand. And Kurt Bertler, a data goblin from SQL BI, go even further with this and provide much more details and examples and time frames. So to give users the overview, you need to have, they need to get the overview within 30 seconds. To figure out what's happening within 30 seconds, this is time frame for our working memory, and needs to get details on demand within 300 seconds. So just a quick other information examples. You see the continents, but we can have also the seasons. So we will have additional transformation because the seasons depends on the months and hemisphere. So we will put additional information to provide much more information that we need. If we have external data sources, we need to have common one or more attributes to join. And same thing with the data integration internally. So we can have additional categorization, depends of the context. For example, we have the hotels with adults, children, and the babies. And we want to provide another group that provides us much more information, for example, in single, couple, group, family with little children, and the other. So we will have additional transformation, additional algorithms to resolve this and to set up so we can use it. So why we use transformation? We use transformation to improve business value, to get in more analytical form that is much suitable for use, and we use transformations to better understanding by our audience. Also, we use integration from different data sources, and we use it for improving our quality and reliability for decision support. And just to wrap up at the end, you see, to organize things so users can understand, we have several challenges. So to organize, to understand, we can need sometimes cascade on the level they can understand, make certain adjustment, use business terms they are used to in different shapes and granularity. Also, when we orient it on business value, put it in our business context that we want to solve. Also, we will have make adjustments, maybe translate to the business terms, shapes, and granularity. Also, we can find the challenge where to define the data, and during this data hunting process, be oriented on the business problem, and then in the model use it to reshape it into our business context, make adjustment, and these different shapes, granularity, and business terms support. Don't forget, we can have this on the model backend level and on the front end level. At the end, to give our data the voice and tell the story which have higher impact and engage audience, don't forget we need to visualize things, organize so users can understand and use it, improve business value, clean a little bit so we can trust it, and extract and transform to unlock hidden potential in the data. So thank you.